Calgary and Edmonton's real estate markets aren't following the same patterns as the rest of Canada. While Vancouver and Toronto are seeing inventory spikes and price drops, Alberta is holding steady, but that might not last. Calgary's inventory is surging and Edmonton's prices are at a 20-year high. So what's happening next for Alberta's real estate? Well, to figure that out, first we'll dive into the latest housing market data. What's really happening with sales, prices, and inventory. Then we'll look at the key factors driving this shift. And finally, I'll simplify it all so whether you're a buyer or a homeowner, you'll know exactly what this means for you and what to do next. Real quick, for those who don't know me, my name is Richard. I'm a Canadian real estate agent passionate about keeping you informed about what's actually happening in the housing market. So naturally, this channel is all about Canadian real estate, and if you like that and you want to stay up to date, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. So home sales are slowing, but what does this all mean? So let's start with sales. For the first time in over a year, Calgary and Edmonton both saw drops in home sales. Calgary sales fell 15% month over month, the biggest drop since 2022, and Edmonton sales dipped 10%. But does this mean the market is crashing? Even with the slowdown, sales are still higher than pre-pandemic levels. This isn't a collapse, it's a cooling off period. Now here's where things get a little interesting. Calgary and Edmonton are playing two very different rules right now. In Calgary, inventory is up 80% year over year, which means buyers now have more choices. The sales to new listing ratios dropped to 60%, which tells us the market is cooling and buyers have more negotiating power. Though in Edmonton, inventory is actually down 17% year over year, so buyers are still competing for well-priced homes. And the sales to new listing ratio remains at 80%, meaning it's still a seller's market. Calgary is shifting towards a balanced market, while Edmonton is still moving at a good pace. But what are the price trends? Is growth slowing down? In Calgary, prices seem to have plateaued a bit, as this is the first month with no price growth since 2021, a sign that buyers are pushing back against these high prices. In Edmonton, prices are still climbing as home prices are up 12% year over year, one of the strongest gains in all of Canada. With low inventory, demand is still outpacing supply, keeping the sellers in control for now. So if you're buying in Calgary, you might be able to negotiate a better deal, but in Edmonton, expect some competition, at least for now. Let's first talk interest rates. The Bank of Canada just reduced rates by 25 points, and it's looking like more will come by summer, which means lower mortgage rates. And why does this matter? Well, the moment rate drops, more buyers in theory will jump back into the market, driving up demand and potentially pushing prices higher again. So if you're thinking about buying, this cooling off period may not last long, is what the majority of us are thinking because that's what history has told us. But in today's economy and with so much uncertainty, I'm not sure that way of thinking still applies. But let's move on to Alberta's affordability advantage. Let's be real, Toronto and Vancouver are expensive, and Alberta still offers some of the best affordability in the country. That's why we continue to see out-of-province buyers moving here, which helps keep demand strong. Even though sales are slowing down in the short term, Alberta is still one of the best value markets in Canada. And then I want to briefly talk about the rental and construction trends that are happening here. The question I pose is, will there be a housing shortage in the near future? And I bring this up because Calgary's construction activity is slowing. New home construction dropped 1.6%, which could lead to a future shortage of supply if demand picks back up. Edmonton's construction pace is steady though. This is keeping Edmonton's market more balanced, preventing a major housing crunch. So if demand increases later this year, Calgary could run into supply shortages faster than Edmonton. What I would say is these are things that we need to keep an eye on moving forward. All right, so we've covered what's happening and why it's happening, but how does this actually affect you? And so if you're a buyer, this might be your best window. In Calgary, buyers do have the upper hand. With inventory up, you have more negotiating power and less pressure to rush. If you're thinking long-term, locking into a deal now and refinancing later could be a smart move. In Edmonton, competition is still strong. Homes are selling fast in competitive neighborhoods like Windermere and Summerside. If you're looking at Edmonton, be prepared to act quickly on well-priced properties. But ultimately, here are two things to watch out for or just to keep in the back of your mind. Prices could drop further. If inventory keeps rising, prices may continue to slide, and you just don't want to overpay today if waiting could save you some money. And I'd say the biggest thing is be patient but ready. If you find the right home at a good price, don't hesitate too long. The market can shift quickly, especially if mortgage rates continue to drop and more buyers jump back in. Now, if you're a seller, timing and strategy are key. In Calgary, overpricing will cost you. Buyers have more options now, and overpriced homes are just sitting on the market. Price competitively, stage your home well, and be prepared to negotiate. In Edmonton, sellers still have the upper hand. Homes in high demand areas are still seeing multiple offers. But don't assume that the market will stay this way forever. If inventory rises, the advantage could shift to buyers. So if you're selling in Calgary, make sure your home stands out with smart pricing, staging, minor upgrades, and great presentation will go a long way. In Edmonton, if you need to sell, now is a pretty good time before market conditions could change. All that to say, the real estate market is constantly evolving, and the key to making smart decisions is understanding the data. So if you found this update helpful, make sure to hit both the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss out on next month's report. And if you want to see how this month's compares to last month's, where I break down key trends that are still shaping the market today, I'll link that video right here. And while you watch that, I'm going to go fly some drones.